Delusional Giudice smacked with truth, not a housewife. Delusional RHONG daughter, Giudice has been smacked with the truth as fans alert her that she's not a housewife. The 23-year-old has popped up in several episodes of the hit Bravo reality series. Yet she has not left the best impression on viewers in the last few seasons. So what else are fans saying about Teresa Giudice's mini-me? Keep reading for more details. Delusional Giudice smacked with truth, not a housewife. Giudice was an adorable and sweet little girl when RHONG first began. She even put her mother, Teresa Giudice, in her place several times, which viewers appreciated. Then Teresa met and fell in love with Luis Ruiz and everything changed. Gia developed a very sharp tongue and did not think before she spoke. She was unkind to her uncle and aunt, Joe and Melissa Gorga, plus she talked poorly about her mother's co-stars. It appeared she was always on her mother's side, no matter what she said or did, which was hard for viewers. They did not understand why Gia had to be around all of the time, acting like she was a housewife when she very clearly was not. Plus, Gia always defended her mother's marriage to Luis, praising her stepfather even if he was indefensible. Recently, Gia was on Teresa's Turning the Tables podcast. According to Monsters and Critics, she chatted about how some think she is too into her mother's life and problems. She also noted that if the cast has issues with her jumping to Teresa's defense, she has the solution. They can invite their children to the series to do the same for their parents. Apparently, viewers did not care for what Giudice had to say because they went off in the comments. Absolutely nobody is jealous or insecure. She really shouldn't be on the show. She's not a housewife, and she's the only child who has inserted herself or brought in the delusions. This is ABSW2 Teresa's child. Gia is as delusional as her toxic mother. No one on the show is jealous of Teresa having Gia have her back. The cast and the viewers just don't like Gia or want her involved in the drama. No more show. At this point, all of this does not really matter when the future of RHONG is up in the air. Season 14 did not have a traditional reunion because of the way the cast struggled to interact. So Bravo and Andy Cohen knew they had some big decisions to make for season 15, and that may or may not include Teresa and Giudice. When the last season ended, Teresa's husband, Luis Ruiz, made a very cruel comment regarding Margaret Joseph's son. As soon as Teresa got a chance to see it on film, she never said he was wrong. Rather, she defended him while viewers were up in arms. Giudice had always believed she was destined for greatness, and why not? As the eldest daughter of Teresa Giudice, the reigning queen of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Gia grew up in front of the cameras, her every milestone immortalized for Bravo viewers. She knew the drama, understood the politics, and believed she was heir apparent to the crown. But as she sashayed into the infamous posh boutique, her signature pout perfectly glossed, she was about to get a wake-up call that would shake her to the core. "Gia, honey, sit," Kim D purred, motioning to a velvet chair. Gia hesitated. The boutique, a symbol of decades-old feuds, felt like enemy territory, yet her determination overrode her unease. "I don't have much time," Gia replied, her tone laced with the confidence of someone used to being catered to. She adjusted her Gucci blazer, a subtle reminder of her proximity to the high life. Kim D smirked. "Oh, sweetie, this won't take long." Gia crossed her legs, her designer handbag perched precariously on her knee. "So what's this about? You said you had information I'd want to hear." Kim leaned forward, her eyes glinting like a cat ready to pounce. "I hear you've been telling people you're the next housewife. That Andy Cohen's got your name on the dotted line for the next season." Gia's expression didn't falter, but her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag. "I don't see how that's any of your business, Kim." "Oh, darling, it's everyone's business," Kim laughed, the sound sharp and biting. "You think you're ready to play in the big leagues? Let me tell you something about being a housewife. It's not just about showing up with a pretty face and a famous last name." Gia straightened, her brown eyes flashing with defiance. "I've been around this my whole life. I know how it works." Kim raised an eyebrow. "Do you?" Because being a housewife means bearing your soul, not just your wardrobe. It's about taking hits and throwing them right back. Can you do that? Or are you just another kid playing dress-up? The truth was, Gia had been angling for her moment in the spotlight ever since Teresa's star began to wane. Sure, her mother was iconic, but Gia wanted to carve out her own legacy, separate from the table flipping and legal scandals. She envisioned herself as the fresh, youthful face of the franchise, bringing a new kind of energy to the series. Her campaign had been subtle at first, teasing her growing fan base on Instagram, hinting at behind-the-scenes meetings with Bravo execs. But when rumors started swirling that she was gunning for a spot on the cast, the backlash came swift and fierce. "Stay in school," one commenter wrote. "This isn't Jersey Shore, Gia." Even her younger sisters, Gabriella and Melania, weren't convinced. "You're not ready for that kind of drama," Gabriella warned over dinner one night. "You're still too sensitive." "I'm not sensitive," Gia shot back. "I'm passionate." Melania snickered. "Whatever you say, Deva. Just don't cry when Mom comes for you in a confessional." Kim D wasn't finished with her lecture. "You think Teresa's going to let you take center stage? Please, that woman would throw her own sister under the bus for a storyline, and she already has." Gia's jaw clenched. "I'm not scared of my mom. If anything, she should be worried about me. I know where the bodies are buried." Kim's laughter filled the room. "Now that's the kind of fire you need, sweetheart. But here's the thing. Fire without control. That's just a wildfire waiting to burn itself out. Do you really want to get into this mess? Do you want your every move dissected, your relationships questioned, your mistakes amplified?" Gia hesitated, the first crack in her armor. She thought about her boyfriend, who had already expressed concerns about her reality TV ambitions. "I just don't want us to turn into one of those couples who fight on camera," he said during a quiet moment. And then there was her father, Giudice, who had made his feelings crystal clear during a FaceTime call from the Bahamas. "You don't need this, Gia," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "Trust me. Once you're in, you can't get out." The meeting with Kim D ended with no definitive answers, but Gia couldn't shake the feeling that she'd been thrown off balance. She drove home in silence, her phone buzzing with texts from her friends. "Is it true you're joining our HONG? OMG, can't wait to see you on Bravo." She wanted to reply, to bask in the validation, but something held her back. Was Kim right? Was she delusional to think she could step into the lion's den and come out unscathed? That night, Gia sat in her childhood bedroom, staring at the collection of photos on her dresser. Pictures of her and her sisters, her parents before the divorce, even a few old cast photos from RHONG reunions. It was a visual timeline of her life, one that reminded her of everything she'd endured and overcome. She picked up her phone and opened Instagram, her thumb hovering over the post button. She drafted a statement earlier, announcing her ambitions and addressing the rumors head-on. But now, staring at the carefully curated words, she felt a pang of doubt. What if she wasn't ready? What if the spotlight she craved so desperately ended up swallowing her whole? In the end, she deleted the post and closed the app. Maybe she didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Not yet, anyway. The next morning, Teresa found Gia in the kitchen, nursing a cup of coffee. "You were out late," Teresa remarked, her tone casual but probing. Gia shrugged. "I had a meeting with Kim D." Teresa's eyes narrowed. "Kim D? What the hell do you need to talk to her for?" "Just getting some advice," Gia replied, not looking up. Teresa scoffed. "Advice from Kim D? Please. That woman's a snake. You want advice, you come to me." Gia finally met her mother's gaze. "I don't want to be you, Mom. I want to be me." Teresa froze, her expression unreadable. For a moment, the two women just stared at each other, the unspoken tension between them crackling like static electricity. "Good luck with that," Teresa said finally, turning on her heel and walking out of the room.